Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Miasin, and since this is still the very beginning of the format, I wanted to make a special video where I talk to you guys about the top 10 best side deck cards for this upcoming format, well, for the July format. Try to see which kind of cards would actually beat the meta right now. Should they be in the side deck, in the main deck? Do they have a lot of applications, or are they just silver bullets that work against like one deck, for example, which means that it would kind of be a bad idea to main deck them? Yeah, before you start, friendly reminder to like and subscribe. Please, let's try to aim at 1,000 likes. That would seriously motivate me a lot to keep making just competitive videos in general. And now let's jump right into it. Alright, so the first one on my list is a pretty obvious one. Everybody was kind of looking for that one, and it's Zombie World. Obviously, this card's overpowered. It really is that good. It's one of the best floodgates in the entire game by a long shot because it transforms every monster on the field and in the graveyard into zombie. So a deck like Tri-Brigade literally just can't do anything at all. They can't use the effect of a single Tri-Brigade monster on the field since it would require you to banish Beast, Beast Warrior, Wing Beast from your grave, and obviously they all become zombies, so can't really do anything with that. The Salamander deck completely loses to it because you can't make Veilings, you can't make literally any of the Link monsters because you always need Cyberus monsters, but they become zombies, so nice deck. Don't worry, there are still a bunch of other decks that would also lose to this. Dinosaur, Dragon Link, even though they got kind of crippled, but still, this card should definitely be in your side deck if you can play it. Number 2 is a card that actually works against a bunch of decks, but it's only good going second, and that one is Electric Virus. This card has a pretty simple effect, and it's not the first time it would be good in a format. You can discard it from your hand to either steal a dragon or a machine monster from your opponent's field, and this is now much better than before because now you can start stealing your opponent's Sky Striker cards. So yeah, Shizuku, give it to me so I can turn it into a Hayate, and now all of a sudden I get to start my engine off of your card. That's a nice raid that you got there in the graveyard. It would be ashamed if I never let you trigger it. Number 3 is Retaliating Sea. Now that's a hand trap. Theory it should actually kind of be in another form of video, but I wanted to only make main deck hand traps for that one, for that video, and this one is a hand trap that isn't really good in the main deck. I definitely wouldn't recommend main decking Retaliating Sea under like any circumstances, unless we're like in a tier 0 format where everybody and their mother needs to use spell cards in order to summon monsters, like the Substitute Zodiac. That was literally the only time I could actually think of main decking Retaliating Sea, because also Metal Foes could destroy it and search Max C. You can't search Max C, but you can search Contact C, and that is one good card against a bunch of decks as well, like Prank Kids, for example. Prank Kids are the ones that lose the most to Retaliating Sea. Since you use spell cards constantly in order to summon your monsters, all of your materials gets banished, which means that they go neg a lot, and they can't trigger the effect of a single Pranked monster. Even their spell card gets banished, and if they try to, to tribute their Pranked boss monster, the Battle Butler, well, you're going to be searching Contact C with your Retaliating Sea. So how are you a loser in this kind of business? And not to mention that it's pretty good against Drytron, obviously, since the deck needs to use ritual spells in order to summon things, and it's also good against other decks like Invoke, Shadal, etc. Anything really that needs to use spell cards in order to summon monsters. After that, we actually have a two-way tie between Anti-Spell Fragrance and Imperial Order. Kind of ends up fulfilling the same role. I guess you can say Anti-Spell is a less powerful card and Imperial Order is like a higher impact, but at the same time, it's actually the opposite when you're playing against Pendulum. Anti-Spell is better than Imperial Order against Pendulums because they can't even attempt to use anything in the scale, whereas Imperial Order, at least they can, but their effects are kind of just not doing anything. But yeah, both of these cards are really good in order to counter Lightning Storm, your opponent's engine cards, and there are a lot of them. Everybody, like I said, needs to use spell cards, and it's not even just a new thing this format, it's always been there, but get ready to face Anti-Spell and Imperial Order probably even more than before. Alright, what else do every single deck in the game needs to do? Use the Graveyard. Different Dimension Ground and Dimension Shifter are both two really good cards at stopping your opponent from doing literally anything for a full turn. Now, Different Dimension Ground is a normal trap card, which means that it is a trap trick target, and Dimension Shifter is a hand trap. There aren't a lot of decks that you can really use Dimension Shifter in, but if you're playing something like Subterror, perfect for you. You can play Dimension Shifter, make your opponent literally pass turn, maybe shotgun the D-Shifter on standby so your opponent can't just I don't know, use something that sends for cost, or that needs to send for cost, but you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, the next one is actually a card that you can main deck. It's Cosmic Cyclone, and the reason why I really want to mention Cosmic Cyclone especially, and not just Twin Twister, Lightning Storm, evenly, is because Cosmic Cyclone is the one that I feel loses to the least amount of things. Like, you can still use the card under a lot of situations, even late game, and you can chain it to Anti-Spell and Imperial Order, whereas cards like Lightning Storm, they just sit there in your hand when you draw them late game, or if you get Anti-Spell or Imperial Ordered, the card is just simply unusable. Yeah, that's just the issue when you have face-up cards on the field, or if, like I said, you're under a floodgate. And this is the reason why I think Cosmic Cyclone is a bit better. You can start banishing Engage and multi-roll. You can banish... there's just so many things, man. It's not even funny. You can banish the Salamangreat cards, so they don't really get recursion, whereas Twin Twister, they go to the grave, so next turn Sunlight Wolf just recycles back everything. So you kind of see where this is going, right? Shared Ride and Mistaken Arrest are amazing, and they might actually start seeing play in Sky Striker mirror matches again. So definitely make sure that you have your copies of Shared Ride on you, because if your opponent plays Kagari, Shizuku, Area Zero, Engage, all those cards, you're drawing for days. And there are a lot of decks that seriously need to search from the deck or from the graveyard to the hand a lot. Even Salamangreat really need to recycle back resources from the grave to the hand, and Shared Ride isn't just from deck to hand. So yeah, definitely have to watch out for that. And Mistaken Arrest is a bit different. It also hurts you, so I'm not really a big fan of Mistaken Arrest. It locks you out of not searching until the end of your next turn, which kind of sucks, but hey, it's still pretty good for what it does. And last but definitely absolutely not least, if anything, this might be one of the most powerful cards this format, but not a lot of decks can use it. A few decks can use it. These decks are all of the water attribute decks in the game, because the card I'm talking about is White Howling. This card was not good for several formats, and now all of a sudden it's really good. You might be wondering why. Well, first of all, again in Sky Striker mirror matches, you end your turn with Shizuku. That's a water link monster, and White Howling reads, if you control a water monster, target one spell card in your opponent's graveyard, banish it. After that, every spell card that your opponent uses or on the field, whatever, they're completely negated. So this card's like a one-sided, I believe, Imperial Order and a DD Crew at once, because you make your opponent lose its Engage or multi-roll, your opponent won't be able to use any spell cards. That's just such a high-impact card, and you don't necessarily need to play Sky Striker to use this. You could end your turn with Needle Fiber or Dragite, you could play Adamancipator and use this card. Literally anything that can make a water attribute monster, you put White Howling in it, and that's it, that's all, man. It's literally Merry Christmas, you win the game. But that's pretty much it for my top 10, or I guess top 11, whatever. You get a bonus because you're cool like that, alright? Please make sure you like and subscribe. It motivates me so much to keep making videos like these, and I will see you next time. Peace.